Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're taking a deep breath maybe and diving into something really fascinating.
Definitely.
The whole mystery of, global virality, how things just explode online.
Yeah.
You sent us some source material that, promises to unlock how these trends spread, not just nearby, but like everywhere,
right,
across cultures, continents. And that's a big promise, right? The source these excerpts we're looking at is titled Viral Trend Secrets Uncovered.
Yeah.
Secrets behind viral trends around the world. Catchy title.
It is. And the authors are basically saying that these huge global trends, they're not random. They argue there are these repeatable rules, structures, secrets even.
Secrets. Okay.
Yeah, things that work across different platforms, different languages.
Okay, so let's try and break this down a bit. If we take this seriously, our mission today is to get past the examples, the anecdotes, and really pull out what these authors are calling the foundational knowledge.
The core mechanics.
Yeah, the core mechanics, like the basic operating system for a viral trend, if that makes sense. What are these secrets they talk about? The things that make an idea stick and scale and jump across borders so easily.
That's the really key distinction here. We're not meant to be focusing just on the content, the specific dance or meme.
Right.
It's about the underlying mechanism. How did that thing manage to leap from, Bangkok to Barcelona?
Okay.
The source material suggests that global success, it hinges on three critical things. Secrets, they call them, and they're interlocked. We kind of need to look at each one to get the whole picture.
Good. Yeah, laying it out like that helps because the original material could feel a bit abstract sometimes.
Could.
So let's start with what feels maybe the most practical. Structural accessibility. The sources kept mentioning this simplicity requirement.
Mm-hmm.
What's that about? Why is complexity supposedly fatal for global reach?
Okay, yeah. The simplicity requirement. This is really the foundation, the first secret. Sometimes they call it the low entry barrier.
Low entry barrier. Makes sense.
Think about it like cognitive load.
Mm.
If you're aiming for a truly global audience, you just can't rely on deep cultural inside jokes or, demand lots of skill.
Right.
The thing itself, the content, it has to be instantly understandable and, crucially, super easy to replicate immediately.
So it's not just that the idea is simple, it's that the action you need to take to participate is minimal.
Exactly.
Like reducing the friction, the effort, down to almost nothing. Precisely. The source material really hammers this point. For global viral success, you need what they call a near-perfect simplicity ratio.
Yeah. Simplicity ratio.
Yeah. If a trend needs like a 5-step tutorial or you have to learn some tricky software or get some really niche joke,
Forget it.
yeah, the entry barrier is just too high. And the moment that happens, you limit who can join in. The network effect, that spreading power, it just stalls before it can even think about crossing borders.
Okay. Can you give us a sort of conceptual example? How does this simplicity requirement actually function as a global mechanism? Sure, absolutely. Think about trends that revolve around really simple physical gestures, or maybe super short nonverbal reactions, like a face you make.
Okay.
The source would argue those succeed globally because the instructions are basically universal. You don't need translation to understand pointing or nodding or looking surprised, right?
No language needed.
The simplicity of the action itself allows for immediate imitation. If it's simple enough, you don't even need instructions. People just see it, get it, and can do it perfectly.
And that lets global audiences jump on board instantly.
Instantly, and replicate it perfectly. That's the structural secret that allows for massive scale.
That makes a lot of sense. And it explains why, really complex stuff like, expert level coding challenges or super intricate dance routines.
Yeah.
They might go viral within a specific group, a niche,
Definitely.
but they rarely hit that true around the world status the source is talking about. The simplicity secret ensures the biggest possible pool of participants.
It's rule number one, foundational. But, just being simple isn't enough on its own to make people want to join in.
Right. Simple can just be boring.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which brings us to the second secret. And this one, arguably, is the most powerful one identified in the source material. The emotional archetype. Okay, now this is interesting because emotion feels universal, right? But how we express it can be so tied to culture.
Mm-hmm.
So how does the source define a mechanism that taps into emotion globally without getting, lost in translation?
Well, this secret is all about hitting what the source calls the primal switch.
Primal switch, okay.
So true global virality, it doesn't really connect with surface level feelings like nostalgia for one specific decade or humor about some local politician.
Right, too specific.
It targets fundamental, really deep-seated shared human emotions, archetypes. Think pure joy or deep curiosity, maybe shock. Or even just that simple satisfaction of completing a small, low-stakes challenge and getting recognized for it.
So the mechanism is the emotion. It uses that shared human reaction as the engine to go global.
Pretty much.
Like if I see a video of someone just laughing uncontrollably, infectiously, my brain gets that, whether I speak English or Japanese or Arabic.
Exactly. The trend effectively bypasses the language barrier, the cultural filter, by hitting that direct emotional nerve.
The emotional archetype secret.
Yeah.
It makes the trend sticky, high stickiness.
Yes. When the emotion is that primal, that fundamental, the trend automatically feels relevant to almost anyone. The source would argue, if you look closely at globally successful trends.
Yeah.
The actual content, the video or whatever, it's just the delivery system. The real engine making it go viral is that standardized emotional kick it provides.
And this loops back to the simplicity requirement we just talked about, doesn't it?
It does.
If the structure is simple, low barrier, and the emotional core is primal, universal resonance, then wow, that's a potent mix.
A very powerful combination. So for you listening, the relevance here is pretty clear. If you're trying to figure out why something blew up, look beyond the visuals. Ask yourself, what deep, basic human feeling did this thing trigger the second I saw it? And what's really fascinating is that the source suggests these archetypes, these triggers, they're actually quite limited. It's not like there's an endless menu of emotions that work.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, the truly successful global trends seem to reliably tap into just a small handful of predictable emotional triggers, like curiosity that just demands to be satisfied. You know, that urge to click or watch till the very end.
Yeah, cliffhangers, reveals.
That's a highly transferable mechanism.
Yeah.
The secret, according to the source, is knowing which of these standardized emotions is the most efficient catalyst for getting people to share.
Okay, but this brings up a big question about how it actually spreads.
Yeah.
The mechanism itself. We've got a simple idea. It triggers a core emotion. But how does the source explain the actual transfer around the world? This gets into some of that more technical language they use, right? Like network topology and isolated cultural nodes.
Right.
What's the third structural secret here that drives the distribution? Okay, so that brings us to the final really crucial secret, the transferability quotient. Transferability quotient.
Okay.
This one is about essentially structural resilience. It's a bit abstract, I admit.
Yeah.
But the practical idea behind it is quite clear. A truly global trend is one where the core idea can kind of exist independently of the platform it started on or its original format. The secret is how easily the idea itself can jump across different networks without losing its punch.
Let's clarify that for people listening. When the source says network topology, it doesn't just mean like TikTok versus Instagram.
Right, not just that. It means the whole web of human connection, how information flows between people, whatever app they're using, or even if they're just talking about it.
Exactly. The transferability quotient is basically a measure of how easily that core mechanism, that simple emotional idea can shift. Can it go from a short video platform to a messaging app? Can it end up on the local news? Can someone describe it easily? And does it still work? Does it keep its meaning and its power?
Without losing the essence.
Yes. The real secret here is the structural integrity of the concept itself. That's what allows it to survive being dropped into a totally new cultural context or onto a different type of media.
Okay, I think I'm getting a picture now. Like a purely local trend might depend heavily on, say, a specific TikTok filter or a trending sound on that platform.
Right. Very platform dependent.
But a global trend, it's built around the core idea, which someone could explain in text, show in a picture, act out in a video. And it would still resonate. It doesn't need much tweaking. That minimal tweaking, that minimal modification, that's key to this transferability quotient. The source material really stresses avoid relying too much on platform-specific features.
Okay. If a trend only works because of, say, an algorithm favoring 15-second videos right now, it's going to stumble when it tries to jump to a platform with different roles or into offline conversation. That limits its global potential.
So the material tells us to look for conceptual resilience.
Right.
How sturdy the core idea is, even when the context or the way it's shared changes.
That's a great way to put it. Conceptual resilience. Does the mechanism thrive even when cultural settings change or the technical means of sharing change?
Okay, so if we tie these three secrets together now, the simplicity requirement, the emotional archetype, and this transferability quotient, you start to see the framework the source claims exists. Simplicity makes it easy for anyone to join in. Emotion makes the idea sticky and compelling. And transferability makes sure that sticky, simple idea can actually survive the journey across what the authors call those isolated cultural nodes.
It maps out a surprisingly predictable path, doesn't it? The author's big idea, maybe their breakthrough, is seeing global virality as less about how clever or new the content is, and more about how structurally efficient the mechanism behind the content is.
Efficiency.
Yeah. The three secrets work together. Low entry barrier gets the crowd moving. Primal emotion fuels the desire to share it. And high transferability ensures the idea doesn't just fizzle out when it leaves its original home online.
And the importance of grasping this, for you listening, is pretty obvious. It gives you a way to analyze things critically, instead of just feeling washed over by the endless stream of content.
You now have specific structural things to look for. When something properly breaks out globally, you can ask, right? Is the action simple enough for literally anyone? Does it hit a universal feeling, surprise, joy, whatever? And third, could this be easily explained or copied without needing the original platform? That's precisely it. The source's claim about uncovering secrets is really about recognizing patterns.
Yeah.
They're pushing us to look past the surface level, the noise, and see the universal human levers being pulled. And these levers, simplicity, shared basic emotion, and this idea of structural resilience or transferability, those are the real lasting mechanics that let content work on a massive global scale.
It really shifts your focus, doesn't it? Away from just the end result, the hit video, and towards the input, the efficient universal mechanism that made it happen. This analysis, pulling from the framework in Viral Trend Secrets Uncovered, it gives us that kind of conceptual map.
Yeah, a map for navigating this really complex landscape of global trends. So we've spent our time digging into these structural secrets, really exploring this idea that global virality isn't just random luck. It's driven by these definable, repeatable mechanics.
Right.
Understanding that these three core mechanics exist: simplicity, the emotional archetype, and transferability. That's really the essential first step. It helps you start analyzing any global trend more effectively, more efficiently.
And since this material we looked at was so focused on uncovering these secrets, the things that let content really spread around the world,
Yeah.
we want to leave you with a final thought to kind of chew on. Next time you see something truly massive go viral, something that genuinely jumps across cultures, across borders,
Don't just look at the surface content. Ask yourself, what specific blend of that simplicity requirement, that emotional archetype, and that transferability quotient is really at the heart of this? What's the core mechanism allowing it to cut through all the friction and truly dominate the global stage?